Hello, everyone. How we doing? Welcome to episode 11 of HangarReady. And let me go ahead and introduce my partners in crime this evening. We've got with me Jolly. How you doing this evening, Jolly?
Doing great tonight.
And we have with us Turin Amos. How
Hey,
you doing, Turin?
doing great, thanks.
You enjoying the wonderful weather there? And then we also have Callie Josh. How you doing, Callie Josh? You'll notice
Fantastic.
that Callie Josh made the producer put his Instagram on the screen when you see him. Then we have our wonderful Namidius. How you doing, Namidius?
Hey, I'm doing good.
And hopefully the producer didn't misspell your name.
She only did that once.
She makes color commentary over here, and then there's Shap Cap. How you doing, Shap?
Hey guys, doing well, thanks.
Chap didn't share any of his social media because he doesn't like us.
Correct.
So we've had it's been a month, and we've had a pretty good month. But there's been a lot going on in Star Citizen, and I know we kind of beat up on CIG a little bit in last episode, but
We will again this one.
some of us will, that's for sure. But I think we're going to talk about segment 1 tonight. Oh, Handrosa, thank you for hosting the stream for us.
Nice.
We're going to go ahead and talk about segment number 1. Shepcap, this was your idea.
Correct.
Or you at least did the flesh out of the segment 1. So
Blame
why
me.
don't you introduce what our first topic tonight is?
All right, guys. So we're going to talk tonight about the ROC, which is the Remote Ore Collector, a new ship from Grey Cat, or vehicle from Grey Cat. It's an in-between between hand mining in a cave and mining with a prospector or a mole. Basically, it lets players drive around on the surface of moons and planets, find medium-sized nodes, mine them, and get massive profits. It's a pretty nice little vehicle. Jay, you want me to keep blowing right through it, or does anybody else want to chime in?
Let's go ahead and let's show the little video that you have.
Yeah, so this is just an example of some quick mining with the ROC. The whole thing is actually pretty fast. I mean, you could knock out all these nodes if you got some practice in less than 5 minutes. And if they're Haydenite, I mean, that's 33K right there. Each node will get you 11K, assuming you can pick up all the little gemstones. So I'm going to talk while it keeps going because I don't need to explain what's going on here. But
Yeah, people
basically,
know what mining is.
you can pick them up for $50 war bond, 55 credit. They are selling a combo pack with LTI with the ROC and the Cutlass Black. So if you're looking to get a Cutlass Black with LTI or a ROC and a Cutlass, whatever, you've got some good options. It's 140 for the combo pack. War bond 150 for non-war bond. I think in game it's probably going to be between 6,000 and 10,000 AUEC to purchase one. That's going off of the Cyclone price. It's a little more useful, so it's probably going to be a little more than the Cyclone, which is 5,800 or 5,400. I think the rental rate's probably going to be between 600 and 1,000 a day. And then if you want to rent a Cutlass Black to go with that, that's going to run you, another amount, whatever it is. I can't see it on the sheet there, a day. So
It's about 28,000 to rent.
Oh, there you go. All right,
1.4
28,000
million
rent.
to buy.
So, right now it fits in the Cutlass Black. These are ships it fits in easily. You can jam it in plenty of ships, but the ones that you want to put it in without having a problem, Cutlass Black, Freelancer Max, Valkyrie, Carrack, 890, Hammerhead, the Connies, the Starfarer. You can cram it in a Freelancer, Dur, Miss, and Base. Not recommended, but you can. And then apparently you can put it in a Cutlass Blue and a Cutlass Red as well. You kind of have to ride up on the walls in it, and it bounces around. It can cause issues in those last ships. As far as profitability goes, this is a very profitable ship. Now, there's a bit of a barrier to entry, meaning you've either got to grind up to it and buy it in game, or you've got to spend money for it IRL. And then to really maximize it, you need to get a ship that can transport it. Either you need to have one, or you need to grind up to that in game. So I don't know that it's necessarily a starter ship for the profession, but the barrier to get there isn't as high as it is with a prospector or a mole. So I think there's plenty of opportunity for people that are just trying to get their beak wet with mining to get into it. In my experience, I've been able to fill one up in 45 minutes to an hour and a half. and my average return is between 120 and 150K. Just picking everything, not being selective. If you're selective and you fill it with Hadenite, which is the most valuable resource at the moment, you can bank 220K with a full rock. Now, one important point is it's supposed to have the ability to unload everything from it by hand, similar to how you can unload your backpack into a crate. And once that feature comes online, then I think this thing is going to be a big time moneymaker, because you can just empty it in your ship and just keep going.
I thought that feature was already in game. You could pull the thing out of the back.
You can
It
open it.
opens.
Yeah, you can open it, but you can't do anything with it.
Yeah, you can't
Oh,
take
it
the
doesn't
stuff out.
actually
Yeah.
give you a container to.
No.
Shep, I do have a question.
Yeah. fire
Right
away.
now, the ROC is very profitable. Like you said,
Correct.
we've seen guys getting 220K out of a
Mhm.
just a head night. But we've seen this before during Commerce when it came out first. We were all multi-millionaires
Oh yeah.
very quickly. I'm wondering if, for the interest of testing, to make sure we try the ROC out or run through its ringer, if what we're going through right now in terms of profit, it's because, I would like us to try this thing out and make sure it works well. And then it's going to be adjusted back down in terms of number of nodes that are out there and what they pay off.
Yes. Yeah, I think there's definitely some of that going on. I think what they're doing right now is one of two things. They've got either the nodes, the node percentage of population very high, meaning that they're putting nodes all over the place so that we go mine them. And number two, I think they have the yield from the nodes cranked up a little bit. So right now, when you break a node, you get 40 little gems. And those are the same gems that you get when you break a node in a cave, except you only get 10 when you do it by hand. So I think what they're probably going to do is either lower the frequency of nodes or reduce the yield of a node. I don't think they can make the price fluctuate too much, because then they may disturb the profitability of hand mining in a cave. So like you don't want to crush the market on the value of the things, because then nobody's going to cave mine, because they'll make 2,000 AUEC for a full backpack.
Shep,
Yeah, go
we
ahead.
saw them drop the frequency of nodes for hand mining. That's what they did.
Mm,
This is the same thing that happened in hand mining. Is
Okay.
everybody could find those hand mining nodes everywhere. We all remember the
Yep.
clusters of 9, 11, 12 of these.
Just
And
out
then
in the
once it
open.
went through
On
that
the surface,
testing phase, on the
right?
surface, on
Right.
the surface. And once it went through the testing phase, those were, few and far between. They dialed them back down to a, more respectable level. I kind of feel that's probably what they're going to do with this too.
Could be.
The flip side of that is that right now, it's super great price. If you have one, you should go out and mine like crazy and build up the AUAC now before they turn the spigot off, because it's clear that it's handy to have AUEC. And it's go ahead. I'm sorry.
I was going to move into the next piece of it, but no, you're dead on. Stock up what you can now before they knock you back down. Although there's a bug that we just uncovered that may reduce your AUEC from PTU anyways. So, but anyways, so some big important points that I see with the ROC, beyond it being fun and making money in game, is that I think it's a great opportunity to set up a team and have some good teamwork going on. There's multiple scenarios, but you could have a transport pilot and a ROC operator, and you fly to a node, you drop off the ROC, the operator starts mining it, the pilot takes off and goes and looks for the next node, and then by the time he's found that, he can come back, scoop up the ROC, drop it to that node again, and keep going on and on and on. Then they split the profits at the end, instead of having to get in and out of the ROC, take off, go find it, whatever. You can do that with one ROC or two ROCs. I don't think more than two will be profitable. You could also do it with two ROCs, a scanning ship and a transport ship, but then you're splitting your haul. Every time you add somebody, you're cutting into your profit. So it may be quicker,
Two
but I
rocks
don't
would
know
go
that you're
through
making
stuff
money.
pretty quick.
They would. So you'd need more than one guy looking, because I think you're going to have a lot of idle time. But
Your point, though, Shep, that the ROC is a positive, I have to agree with completely. Anybody interested in mining, if you've got a prospector, that's great. I have one. I now have a ROC also. I'm not going to buy on a run, but if you're even a low level, barely going to pledge what you really can't afford, you get a black and a ROC, you'll be able to earn enough credits in game to press on beyond that. But I think the whole thing is a big positive overall.
Right. And then beyond mining, one important piece of tech that the ROC has is a true tractor beam. It's the first time we're seeing a tractor beam work in game and pick up an object and move it somewhere else. So I think it's great to see this tech for other areas of the game, like salvage, for example. Because basically, when you use a prospector or a mole, it's all faked. There's no little gem you're picking up with that thing. It's basically an animation with ore getting sucked in. Whereas with the rock, you're actually picking up something with the beam and pulling it into the machine where then it despawns it. But, it's actually happening in real time. So I think it's a great first blush at tractor beam tech. And I think it's got ramifications beyond just the rock, for example, salvage and other things like that. And then I guess we'll close out on some of the negatives. We've got some bugs that reduce the efficiency of it, but that's to be expected. The thing just came out. And then, you really need a transport ship to have the best profits from it. So, as a new player, instead of just buying a rock in game, now you've got to buy a rock and a ship to transport it. If you have an Aurora, then you can't move it anywhere. You can use it at surface outposts and just drive around the outposts, but I mean, your profitability over time is just extremely diminished doing that because you're spending 90% of your time driving to nodes, and especially if they lower the frequency, 90% of your time driving to nodes and 10% actually doing the work.
Although right now, with the payout that they have, it might not be such a bad idea to go rent one.
Well, you can't rent them yet.
Well, but when you can,
Sure.
hopefully, and then rack up 3 or 4 million in credits over a long weekend.
Yeah, well, that's it.
And then
But
you can.
But you still need something to transport it around in. That's the point.
Or a buddy.
You make it really hard to get around in a just a local area, local outpost. You probably won't get a lot of nodes that way.
Yeah, I have
Completely
seen
agree.
some that appear in the armistice zones around the outposts, believe it or not. So they're actually spawning in pretty close. But to your point, you'll get 3 rocks and then 3 nodes, and then then you got to drive 2 kilometers to find the next one because the scanner on that thing isn't great. It'll do about 3K out, and that's it. So
The placement of the minables is a little weird now. I mean, I think I flew over Klesher Prison the other day, and there was like about 9 prospector nodes around the turrets. Right there.
Yeah, somebody has taken the slider for spawning nodes and just slid it all the way over.
That's when you
here's the-
get desperate.
Yeah.
So here's the question: if you were going to put together a 2 rock mining team
Mhm.
and a pilot and a scout ship, what's the best cargo ship to carry the rocks around in?
I would have to go with, I want to say a Valkyrie, to be honest with you. It's got a nice wide ramp. It's got enough room to pull 2 in, and if you really want to get creative, you can jam 4 in there. Not recommended. The Cutlass is great if you're solo because you can get out of the seat and in the pilot seat and into the rock very quickly, and vice versa. But the ramp is too narrow at the bottom to fully get the rear wheels in smoothly. Like it bounces when you bring it in.
Yep.
And you can fit 2 in there, but then the pilot is stuck in the cockpit and can't get out the sides. And it makes difficult.
No, actually, no.
No?
You
With
can.
2? Okay.
But you put them in a line. You don't put them side by side.
Okay.
You back the first one in, and then the rear tires are basically straddling that pillar in the front of the cargo bay. And then
Gotcha.
you pull the second one straight in facing it, and as soon as the tires are clear of the ramp, you can close it, and you got like 6 or so feet between them, so they can both open up. Both the drivers can get out.
Okay. That's the other thing too is if you have a two rock team, they're not always both going to be in the ship at the same time. Really, just for transport, because you hit the first node and you throw the first one out, and then you're back to just one, and then hopefully you're just leapfrogging each other with the transport ship. For a
Ooh.
scanning ship, I'd probably recommend a Terrapin. I mean, that's what it's for, right?
Or, well, that's true. Or
Well, it's
Pisces
what
or
it's
something.
supposed to be for, but yeah.
Yep.
But all the ships can detect right now, so.
Yeah.
Correct.
Yep.
But anyways,
I would say it seems to me like dropping 2 off to break up 8 or 9 nodes quicker would be better than to try to hopscotch, because I think you'd have some rocks sitting there waiting on pickup quite a bit.
potential.
Versus if you dropped, need to sit down and do some testing.
Right. There needs to be, I was just about to say that. We just need to do some more field research. I know
Yep.
solo I can fill one in an hour. And that's pilot and operator and a Cutlass. So, I'd be curious to see how you do when you have 2 of them or 3 of them and then have to split the profits and see how you do.
Well, nice thing is it's easy to split profits now.
Oh, yeah.
It's
Well,
much
that's a great
easier,
point.
Yeah. Yeah.
We'll talk about that in the next segment. Sounds like Jolly and Turin and I will be busy streaming this week, testing out the Rock and a Valkyrie.
It's fun.
Sounds like I need to get my scanning skills up to date.
Yeah, well, yeah, something like that. Okay.
So Neromus asked, how many can fit in a Connie ship? Just one? Or is it two?
I haven't tried, but I'd have to say 2 max.
Yeah.
Two
I haven't-
max, yeah, 2 max.
I
But
think
I don't know.
I think
if one,
you,
if
I don't know you
two.
could get 2 on there.
I
You
don't
might
either.
even have to angle them.
Yeah, that's
Did
what I was
they
about
fix
to say.
the
Is
freelancer?
it longer than the Ursa, or is it a little bit shorter than the Ursa?
I believe it's a little shorter, but I mean, you can still barely fit an Ursa on there, right?
Right,
In
that's
a
what I'm
Connie?
saying. Is
Yeah.
that I don't think you
May-
can get
maybe
2
two.
cyclones in it.
Maybe 2 if you're lucky. If you try to like Austin Powers one in there sideways or something,
Can you
maybe
fit him in a freelancer now?
you can, but you kind of have to ride up the actuator
still
for the door
Yeah, it's
to
still
get in
nudging
there.
it.
Yeah,
It's
so
janky.
I would recommend a max because the problem is, if that thing moves at all in the back of the ship, even when you have it off, it hits your ship, then it's an enemy, and then one of them blows up, and you got all kinds of problems. So, it's just not worth it, in my opinion. You can do it, but it's not worth it.